Hey, my name is Clay. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips to make getting back into ketosis faster and easier. Now, since being on the ketogenic diet, I haven't gone off the deep end fully with Wonder Bread and Ben & Jerry's. I usually succumb to what we call carb creep, which is just a bit too many carbs day to day. Whether you went out with a bang or slowly slipped into the void like Jack at the end of the Titanic, these 5 tips will help you climb back aboard the SS ketosis in no time. Before I get into the tips, I'm going to cover a few quick fundamentals. The first fundamental is what I call the ketosis equation, which is ketosis equals time minus carbohydrates. Now, all this means is that you need a certain amount of time to pass without your body having access to glucose from carbohydrates for you to get into ketosis. Keep in mind that getting fully back into what we call nutritional ketosis is probably going to take about 2 to 3 days. And anyone telling you otherwise is probably trying to sell you an exogenous ketone supplement. And fundamental number 2 is to expect some hunger and cravings. Now, some of my tips will help with this, but it's unavoidable when you're in energy limbo between ketones and carbohydrates. So just keep in mind that the hunger you're feeling is only temporary, and it's sort of the price of entry to get back into ketosis. And fundamental number 3 is to test your ketones. Now, this one's optional, but I recommend getting a blood ketone meter so that you can actually verify when you're in and out of ketosis. I like to test my ketones when I'm feeling a bit off and I'm not quite sure why. If the reading comes back low, then I know to use some of the tips I'm about to share with you in this video. If the reading comes back at about 1.5 or higher, which is what we call nutritional ketosis, I know to look elsewhere, like my nutrition, sleep, or rapidly deteriorating emotional state. Now that we've got those out of the way, let's get on to the tips. Tip number 1 is to give yourself permission to get distracted. Go ahead and binge that show you've been meaning to watch, play your favorite video games, or read a great fictional book. The more immersive and engaging the activity, the better. Anything that'll take your mind off food for hours at a time here is a win. When getting back into ketosis, it helps me to reframe these activities as productive beyond the recreation they provide because they help me get back to my high energy self faster. So go ahead and spend 11.5 hours binge watching the Lord of the Rings extended editions. You deserve it. Which brings me to the ultimate distraction and tip number 2, which is to get plenty of sleep. Sleep is the only area that I believe is more important than diet to mental and physical performance, and it's especially important when you're trying to get back into ketosis. According to Dr. Kelly McGonigal, author of The Willpower Instinct, which is one of my favorite books, she says that sleep deprivation tanks our willpower, which hurts our ability to resist cravings and make good decisions. Like whether or not I should devour those chocolate-covered strawberries because I don't want them to go to waste. Not getting enough sleep also raises a hunger-regulating hormone called ghrelin that increases your appetite. Too little sleep also lowers a hormone called leptin that decreases your appetite. So that's more of a hormone that makes you hungry and less of a hormone that makes you feel not hungry. It's a real recipe for being hangry. My man Dr. Matthew Walker, author of Why We Sleep, recommends we get 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. He also says that consistency is king and recommends that we go to bed and wake up at the same time each day. Getting more sleep also means more time spent fasting, which accelerates the process of getting back into ketosis. And also brings us to my 3rd tip, which is fasting. Now, if you're not already practicing intermittent fasting, it's a great way to accelerate getting back into ketosis by starting your day off with a few carb-free hours. I recommend fasting first thing in the morning up until you get hungry enough that it's distracting you from whatever it is you're doing. Now, if you're a coffee or tea drinker, this would be a great time to leverage the appetite suppressant effects of caffeine to help you extend your fast throughout the morning and maybe even into the afternoon. This will tell your liver, hey, body fat's all we've got to work with today, so get cranking on those ketones. I also recommend breaking your fast with a 0-carb, high-fat meal to continue to signal to your body, hey, fat's all that's on the menu today. I like to do a bulletproof style hot drink like coffee, tea, or bone broth, blended up with a couple tablespoons each of coconut oil and butter. Eggs and bacon are another great option. And now tip number 4, which is to be prepared. When you're trying to get back into ketosis, you're not going to feel like cooking elaborate meals or waiting 3 to 5 days for a delivery. You're going to want low-carb and convenient foods on deck ready to go. Here are some low-carb staples and convenient snacks that I like to have on hand when I'm trying to get back into ketosis. The first 2 are butter and coconut oil. Coconut oil is especially great to have on hand because it's about 50% medium-chain triglycerides, which your body will convert into ketones whether or not you're in ketosis, which gives you some nice brain energy in the meantime. I also have eggs and bacon. Eggs are great because I hard-boil them and have them ready to go. They're also great for egg salad, which is another super high-fat, low-carb option. Canned tuna, canned chicken for chicken or tuna salads, also another great one. I also like to have snacks like beef jerky, meat sticks, macadamia nuts, pili nuts, which are these great high-fat, low-carb nuts from the Philippines. There's a lot of great, really low-carb snack options. I'll link to some of my favorites in the description. Now, tip number 5 is to do what I call glycogen-burning exercises. I've saved the most impactful tip for last here. It's actually a trick that bodybuilders use on what's called a cyclical ketogenic diet, which is great for getting shredded, but it's complicated and not fun. So your muscles are like sponges that soak up some of the carbohydrates that you eat and store it as glycogen. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wring out some of that glycogen stored in your muscles with a couple of exercises. This way, the next carbohydrates that you eat will get soaked up by your muscles instead of floating around in your bloodstream, making it faster and easier to get back into ketosis. Any high intensity exercise would work here, but I specifically chose push-ups and squats because they're simple, compound movements that can be modified for your level of strength, done anywhere with no equipment. There's a method from a book called Body by Science that will make these exercises burn glycogen faster. They have you do the movement as slow as you possibly can. So this is usually 5 to 10 seconds all the way up and 5 to 10 seconds all the way back down. Now, if doing regular push-ups using this method are too difficult, go ahead and try what are called knee push-ups. If they're too easy, go ahead and try decline push-ups. If the squats are too difficult, go ahead and find something to hold on to or lean up against. If they're too easy, focus on putting more of your weight on one leg at a time. Now you're gonna feel the burn pretty quickly with these exercises, which is good. That's what you want. That means it's working. Doing 1 to 3 sets per day of as many repetitions as you can manage is great. I'd like to wrap this video up by saying that you're not alone. I've been on the ketogenic diet for over 7 years and I still fall off the wagon from time to time. It's all part of the journey. So have some compassion for yourself and try to think of getting back into ketosis as a skill that you can get better at each time it happens. I would also love to hear in the comments if you guys have any tips or tricks that help you get into ketosis faster and easier. If you found value in this video, I would sincerely appreciate it if you considered subscribing to my channel so you can get notified when I make practical keto videos like this one in the future. Thank you.